I mean, it's been a long time I saw anything from Candace. You know, ever since her gag order with Daily Wire. I mean, though she's back on the internet, she's back to YouTube, but I mean, I saw this video and I'm like, okay, I'm really interested. It's coming from Insightful Reports. It's titled, Candace Owens Destroys Whoopigoldberg, Exposing Her Lies and Hypocrisy on Live TV. I cannot wait to actually see this news, because I mean, someone has to put those guys down, those ladies down, and the only person that can actually stand them face to face is only Candace, who is equally a woman. So let's check this out. My name is Ogechi. Do well to like, share, subscribe, turn on post notification bell, drop a comment on what you think about this video. What do you think will go down? Okay, before we comment on the video, just drop what you think will go down in this video. Let's get this going.
Now let's hear from your co-host.
Okay.
Do any of you men have any eggs or the possibility of carrying a fetus? How dare you talk about what a fetus wants? You have no idea. Now, I'm fine if you disagree with abortion. I have no problem with that. My problem comes when you tell me what I need to do with my doctor and my family. How dare you? How dare you?
How dare Whoopi think that an innocent fetus wants to die?
How dare you? How dare you?
All right, counterpoint to you, Whoopi Goldberg. Number 2.
Okay.
Did you guys know back at home, by the way, that in 2017, Whoopi Goldberg received a GLAAD Media Award for executively producing a show called Strut? It was a transgendered modeling show. She won the award for speaking up for trans rights and against those trying to roll them back. Oopsies! This is why I love intersectionality. Here we are in the middle of a vicious culture war where a bunch of men playing dress up and trying to convince people that they are women and can give birth and they can chest feed. And here comes along Whoopi Goldberg, and she's so fired up about abortion that she accidentally tells the truth. Only women can give birth. Only women have a womb that is capable of carrying a child. They say, never get in the way of our enemies when they are making a mistake. They also say, even a broken clock is right twice a day. I say, thanks, Whoopi, for proving that even idiots are capable of understanding basic biology.
So Whoopi goes off on men saying how they have no eggs and only a woman can carry a baby, but supports being called a cis woman by a man in female clothes with makeup on. I'd like to know Whoopi's definition of what a woman is.
And for the last counterpoint, which I believe is so important in terms of this abortion debate, we currently have a culture where men are routinely accused of not stepping up to the plate. In fact, just this week, it was announced that only 18% of households in America today feature a nuclear family unit, a married mother and a father raising children. Make no mistake, father absence is one of the biggest, if not the biggest epidemic that we face in this country today. But why are we expecting men to step up to the plate when we have women that are telling them that they don't have to? Why should men step up when the message that is ringing out loud and clear from mainstream culture and media is that beyond sex, men have no responsibility or say in the lives of their children? I mean, how on earth can someone logically explain how a baby is 100% the property of a woman as it grows inside of her? From the moment that the baby is born, it requires a 50-50 split. Can a man stand before a judge at a child support hearing and say, Your Honor, it was her body, and it was therefore her choice to have this child? The answer, of course, is no. Obviously not. That would be stupid. If a man is colloquially referred to as a deadbeat dad for taking no part or responsibility in a child's life as he or she grows up, then the same must also be true for a woman who wants no part or responsibility in a child's life as it grows inside of her. My body, my choice is a pervasive, deadbeat mom case.
I never thought of it that way, but it definitely makes sense.
Honestly, this isn't even about whether you're pro-choice or pro-life. I just do not like bad arguments. And the arguments that are coming from the left right now are absolutely bonkers. So let's start with absolutely bonkers, Joy Behar.
It's a very interesting schism that goes on here.
Before we get into Joy Behar, right? What do you guys think about this thing Whoopi said? Now she's even contradicting herself. Now she's saying, oh, it's my body, my choice. And she's saying, you know, kind of contradicting herself to what she actually has stood against before, or what she stood for before. And thinking that, you know, Whoopi is an older lady. I mean, I feel like wisdom comes with age, right? An older woman should understand that, okay, these things young people are doing, okay, it's BS, it's total BS. You guys should grow up. There is no life in that. I mean, abortion is clearly murder. It's a wrong thing, right? And all those things that, you know, an older person should be teaching the younger person. But no, Whoopi thinks like she's a teenager. Like, Whoopi is thinking, or what she's saying here makes it feel like she's still a teenager. I mean, who comes to say my body, my choice on stations like this? And, you know, when we have a lot of young people listening to people like this, it makes them feel like, oh, what I'm doing is right, even though what you're doing is very wrong, right? So when younger people listen to Whoopi, who is supposed to give good advice, she's giving something clearly negative, and they're like, okay, this wrong way seems to be the right way. After all, Whoopi is saying it. And I mean, that is what every young person wants to hear. They want to have an abortion and they feel like, okay, it is the right thing to do. Anyway, let's hear what Joy has got to say.
Because on the one hand, sex sells everywhere. I mean, you can't see an aspirin commercial without somebody having sex. Mm-hmm. You cannot turn on any program, especially on streaming, where people are having there's soft porn everywhere now. Right. They encourage all of that. It sells everything. Sex sells. Yeah. And yet when it comes to the
So because sex sells everywhere, everything now is sexualized, which is very true. Are you now trying to tell people, young people, that, okay, since sex sells and everything is being sexualized, it's okay to go have sex and get pregnant? If you get pregnant, okay, you can go get an abortion. I mean, so does that make it right? Does it actually make it right? It doesn't. But let's her land first.
And yet when it comes to the reality of pregnancy, this particular group of people on the right in this country and these religious zealots do not understand the reality of what happens when you have sex.
I'm not sure if Joy quite understands that it's not necessarily the ones on the right that don't get it, and it's not necessarily the reality of what happens when you have sex, but more about the reality of not practicing safe sex and caring less about the outcome. I'm sorry, but abortions are not birth control.
I don't think...
Exactly, abortions are not birth control. How come? How about you teach them to have safe sex? How about you teach them birth control methods? How about we actually hold campaigns where you teach young women on how to have safe sex and how to protect themselves from getting pregnant? Why do they have to get pregnant and then you are saying, oh, pro-abortion, oh, it's okay to have an abortion? No, why? How about you teach them the right thing and it doesn't have to get to pregnancy? This is 2024. Actually, people can plan to get pregnant. People can actually know when they want to get pregnant. People can actually plan it. How about you teach them that than teaching them, okay, since everybody is, you know, having sex and the repercussion of having sex is pregnancy, you don't have to get pregnant because you're having sex. You can actually protect yourself from pregnancy. So what is she even blabbing about? Oh my gosh.
I don't think she knows that it's not pronounced sex, but we'll pretend that there's an H somewhere in there. For counterpoint number one, I want to say, yes, Joy Behar, you are correct. Sex is everywhere. Our culture is sick. That isn't an argument, that's a diagnosis. We have an increasingly sick culture here in America. Religious zealots and or people on the right very much understand that reality. We understand that when a culture promulgates promiscuity, it leads to people engaging in unfulfilling, unprotected sex. Far from your assessment that we don't understand what happens when you have sex, we understand exactly what happens. Children are the consequence. Life is the consequence. It would seem to me that it's the atheist zealots, the ones who have normalized sex-laden aspirin commercials, that don't quite understand what happens when you have unprotected sex. And then, when they find out, they go, whoops, well, good thing I learned in health class that I can just get an abortion to deal with it. Did you know, Joy, that before federally funded sex ed programs in school, which sprang up in the 1970s, and before Roe v. Wade in 1973, teenage pregnancy rates in this country were declining. over a period of 12 years. Maybe what we on the right understand is that there is such a thing as sexually transmitted insanity. The normalization of non-committal sex, which is pervasive in our culture and in our schools, and it serves no one. Least of all, the young women who wind up pregnant and are pressured to make a life-altering emotional decision that is packaged to them as the responsible thing to do.
I definitely agree with Candace, and I'm glad she called these witches out for their lies and hypocrisy.
This morning, you know who released a video where he claimed he was going to give his stance on abortion rights in America. 50 years I've had this right. And here you've snatched this right out of my hands. You've taken my right as a woman to make decisions about myself. You sort of feel that there is not actually a war on women, but there may be a war on what's inside of women. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the babies. I mean, we're killing babies all over the place. And, you know, we should be, I think people can probably understand. In my case,
how can these ladies not see that abortion is actually murdering a child? How can they not see that abortion is actually taking life from a child? Yeah, a fetus. Oh yeah, probably not fully developed, but you are taking away the life from a child. How can they not see that? How is it a right for you to have an abortion? How is it a right? You're not even thinking about the wrong in it, or things that can probably go wrong, or things that can go south in the process of having an abortion. Oh my gosh.
I spent my entire career trying to preserve life and give people quality of life, even operating on babies in the womb, operating all night long sometimes on premature babies. And I get to meet those people, you know, when they're adults and productive adults. There is no way you can convince me that they're not important, that they're just a mass of cells and that you can do anything.
I want to ask you this. Have you met with the women who have to make these horrendous decisions when they have to make them of whether or not they can bring a child into the world? I mean, we talk about bringing children into the world all the time, but
what exactly does she mean by horrendous decision? You went ahead to have unprotected sex. Were you not thinking about the horrendous consequences of it? What is Whoopi talking about? Like, what exactly is she talking about? I feel like young adults should learn to know that there are consequences for their actions. Nobody is saying, no, we don't have sex. But why are you having unprotected sex? Why have you not learned how to take care of yourself? If you're having unprotected sex, you're not even thinking about sexually transmitted infections. How about that? She's talking about horrendous decision. So you went ahead, now you do not want to stand by the consequence of your action. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. I mean, Ben Carson is actually the right person to address this conversation because he's a pediatrist and he's the right person. Imagine him saying that he gives life to children every day, and then years later he sees these people, you know, grow up and become productive adults. How would it feel taking such a life from that person? How? These women don't think. Sorry to say that, but sometimes I feel like they don't think before they say certain things.
we talk about bringing children into the world all the time, but periodically, some women feel, I just can't. And are you empathetic to them? Because we just...
Where was the I can't attitude before taking the risk of getting pregnant?
Empathetic.
Oh, good. Go ahead, sorry. Go
very
ahead.
Empathetic. And what I have said is that this is a job for us in the private sector. What we need to do is make sure that we provide adequate daycare centers for these mothers so that they can get their GED, their associate's degree, their bachelor's degree,
you're assuming that these are mothers who aren't educated. I mean, I'm talking about women who make
most
that.
Of them.
I don't know that you can.
Let me.
Whoopi has no argument. The things she says don't even make sense.
So let me tell you. Let me tell you a fact. Let me tell you a fact. The fact is, A lot of those young girls who are having babies out of wedlock, when they have that
We're not
first
talking about
baby,
them, actually.
they stop their education. And that child is 4 times as likely to grow up in poverty. We as a society have an obligation to do what's necessary to stop that cycle from occurring.
So how important is birth control then to the Republican Party? They should be out there regularly applauding Planned Parenthood for supplying birth control, mammograms, and everything else. Why are they against Planned Parenthood?
Joy is so out of touch with reality. Planned Parenthood doesn't provide any of that. And it should really be named Cancel Parenthood because that's the service it provides. Or maybe it's called Planned Parenthood because if you didn't plan it, they'll make it go away. And it's just a play on words to make it sound like a nice place.
Are you against birth control too?
I don't speak for the Republican Party. I speak for me.
Okay, for yourself. Are you against birth control also?
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right. And so I guess you believe in daycare centers and maternity leave and food stamps and all the things that go along with raising a kid if you don't have the money.
Whoopi goes on to argue that she isn't talking about women in poverty who want the choice to get an abortion, but at the same time, Joy jumps in and brings up daycare programs and food stamps, referring to women in poverty. But let me know what you guys thought of this in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Your support really helps the channel grow.
You guys, I'd love to know your thoughts and comments concerning this video. This is actually really triggering to see older women think this way and have this kind of idea about abortion, to be honest. And why do they have to bring the Republican Party? And I loved that Ben Carson was able to address that and say that he doesn't speak on behalf of the Republican Party. He speaks as a doctor, which I think is the right thing to do. I think it's high time these people start educating young people about safe sex, birth control. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Safe sex, using a condom, doing the right things, you know, after sex protection, after sex, what's this thing called again? You know, to prevent, you know, you getting to that point of getting pregnant and then wanting to reject the pregnancy or not wanting it. Yes, you have to learn to understand that when you have unprotected sex, you're going to get pregnant. You're most likely going to get pregnant. And when you get pregnant, you have a life growing inside of you. Now you have to think about it properly. I mean, what do you guys think about this video? What do you think about abortion? Are you pro-abortion or you're against it? You're against it. What do you guys think? Kindly drop your comments in the comment section below. Let's know what you think. Do well to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell. I'll see you in my next episode. Bye bye.